Hello everyone. Here is Adelere Adesina from Nigeria again, and I'm so glad to be here with you one more time. This is our fourth coaching clinic, and it's so pleasant, isn't it? It's wonderful. Wow. So in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to be taking us through revision, how to master the art of your revision, how to use revision to achieve anything that you want to achieve in this world. And I actually put the word how to change your life using revision. So there are three things that we're going to be looking at in this, and the first is how to do revision. The second is three things you can do revision for, and then the third is how revision is connected to our life purpose. Okay, time so that I could work it this way. In the first 20 minutes I would be teaching and speaking, okay, and then the 10 minutes that's after that, okay, you can come up with your questions in the comment section, and then we'll take them. So let's get into it. Well, we've been on revision for the last 7 days now, and I posted an exercise from day one, okay, that I believe that all of us have been doing. So I'd like to mention point blank that I'm very convinced that if you've done the exercise exactly as I have requested or exactly as I have asked, I'm convinced that you have one or two results of your own. I mean, success stories that are yours. That's not something that someone posted and you read, or something that never put in a book that you read, but that's your own, okay? I know that because I know that if you do your printing shares of revision, if you do your revision on a daily basis and you did consistently, you would have results. Even if it is in 3 days, you would have results. Okay, and then you've done it for 7 days, so you must have at least 20% results, 30% results of things that you've achieved on your list. So yeah, before we go into the lesson deep, I'd just like you to do something after this coaching clinic. The notebook or the notepad where you've been writing or recording these revisions on a daily basis, remember you have to record them, right? So go there and tick off those ones that have happened. Yeah, boldly tick them off and go, oh, my imagination created this. I created this in imagination, and I did this also. Wow, powerful me. Okay. So what is revision really? Revision is a change of mental attitude towards any event that has happened in the past, in such a way that the event's recurrence in the future would be according to the changed mental attitude. That is maybe a little long and windy, so let me put it in a different way. Revision is basically you changing your belief about something so that the thing itself changes. Now, we've heard this a number of times. I mean, for instance, from Wayne Dyer, he wrote a book on this. He called it Change Your Beliefs, Change Your Life, or something like that. But really, instead of having to prescribe that to you or suggest that to you, revision is you doing that. Okay, so when you revise, you are changing your beliefs, and that changes your life. But let me mention something about belief and life, and then we would see how far-reaching this belief could be, and then how important this change has to be. So when we say revision is you changing your belief and that changes your life, I don't want you to think that this is about you changing something in your personal environment alone. It's not that. Revision is you changing everything that pertains to your life experience. Now, what are the things that are your life experience? Everything that you come across, everything that you perceive is part of your life experience. For instance, if you woke up this morning, you wanted to have a certain kind of breakfast, you had another, that's a life experience. Okay, whether you had the kind of breakfast you wanted to have, or you had another that you didn't want to have, the two are life experiences. And then if a friend called you and said, oh, let's say your name is John, and then your friend is Alice, and Alice says, hey John, how are you doing today? And you say, I'm good. And then Alice says, oh, but John, I wanted to eat this breakfast and I ate that breakfast instead. I'm not so happy about the breakfast I ate this morning. Well, that is part of your life experience, because you can't remove that out of your day. You can't, if you want to account for your day, you would say that is part of the things that happen in your day. Of course, you don't remember it. We don't remember many things that happen in our day, but they are still part of our life experiences. And they came up so that so that we can see them, and if they agree to our ideals, we can, well, leave them there. And if they don't, then revise them. Okay, revise them. Now, once again, looking at experiences in that sense, it means everything that you come across, including reading the news. So by the way, if you try to not read the news, it doesn't really solve anything. You stop being aware of it from a source. You still carry the beliefs that the news is pushing on you. You still carry it with you everywhere you go. Okay, I'm not saying continue to read the news or something. Or I'm saying that it's not about you trying to avoid your life experiences from one channel, that you change your beliefs. You change your beliefs by going through revision to change your beliefs. That's how beliefs are changed. Okay, we are going to see how to do that just shortly. But once again, revision is basically a change of beliefs. You do that by changing your mental attitude towards something and changing exactly what you remember of that thing. Now, these two are things that we do on a daily basis in our life. For instance, something happened 10 years ago. When it happened, you were completely excited about it, and 2 months after, you were still so excited about it, super excited. But 5 years down the line, you're not just as excited about it anymore. Maybe it's not one of those things that counted for you again. Maybe it's just one of those things, well, you're grateful, but not excited, not all right, you get it. So that is a change of mental attitude. And you could also flip it the other way, of course, right? Like something happened some 10 years ago or some 5 years ago that was very upsetting for you. You were upset, you resented it, but today you don't care whether it happened or not. It's when you remember it, you just dismiss it. Okay, that's a change of mental attitude. Okay, then the second is changing the memory of the event, right? So you've ever been in that situation where something happened and someone said, okay, it is X, Y, and Z that happened. And you went, no, I remember clearly it was A, B, and C that happened. He said A, B, and C. And they said, no, but he said X, Y, and Z. And they said, no. I remember A, B, and C. And you honestly meant you remembered A, B, and C. Only for maybe they've got some recording, okay, and then they showed you that recording and it was XYZ, and you went, oh, I'm so sorry, but I honestly remembered A, B, and C. Okay, that is a change of memory. Now, the thing is that we do these things unconsciously, just as we manifest all of our life unconsciously, without realizing that those two things, changing your mental attitude and changing the memory of the thing that you could remember about the event, they are together, they are revision. They are how you change your beliefs mentally, and every belief that you change goes back into the future to change your occurrences. Now, let me tell you how important revision really is. Then I'll tell us how to do revision, and then of course we'll go on to the 3 things you can revise for any life purpose. So, how important is revision? I've taught a number of students on revision. I've taken I think maybe 13, 14, maybe 15 students on revision, and that is one-on-one coaching, of course, and then general coaching, group coaching, I've taken a lot more, okay, on revision. And this is one thing I have noticed in all of the instances. When someone tells me that something like this is going on in their life and they're not happy with it, they're messed up and they don't want this to happen ever again, I go, well, revise it. Do you know why? Not because of this particular current one, but because it is a belief in you. If you don't revise it, even when you think it is gone, because the happy moment comes the morning, right? And then you think it is gone, it is going to come back again. And I don't try to stress it. I just tell them, while reflecting your life, this is not the first time it has happened. And they go, well, that's true. And I go, well, this is not the second time it has happened either. And I go, yeah, that's true. So if you are having an experience today, I can very much bet with you that you've had that experience at least 3 different times in your life, whether directly or by witnessing it through someone else. Okay, so if you don't revise it, if you don't revise what is happening today, it is going to come back again tomorrow. Just be sure of that. That is why you don't want to take anything unless it agrees with your ideals. Ideals meaning the way you want your life to be on a daily basis. Okay, the way you would like your life to be fashioned, the things that imply your wish is fulfilled, the wish of the kind of life you want to live. So, what is the lesson there? It's either you revise or you repeat. So it's either you revise your daily experiences that do not conform to your ideals, or you repeat the same experiences that have happened again and again, and then you stuck in the same, you have happiness tonight, the morning, and then you have the downside in the evening, and then you go to the morning again and it's up, and that cycle. Okay, so if you like the cycle, of course, don't revise. But if you do not like it, then revise, because your life bears testimony to the fact that unless you revise, the things come back again. Okay, so we talked about how broad the experiences we can revise really are, and then I said your own breakfast this morning is part of your experience. The breakfast of your friend is not part of your experience, by the way, until they tell you that this is the breakfast that they had, and you became aware of it. The moment you heard it, you became aware of something that happened in their life. It is part of your experience. It is no longer what they did. It is not what happened with you. Because if you want to tell me what happened with them, you wouldn't say, they wouldn't use their lips to say that to me. You would be the one to say it from your own lips. Okay? So how do you revise your day? It's pretty straightforward. Okay, how you revise your day is straightforward. So let's pick those two instances that we mentioned earlier. The first is breakfast, and the second is my friend's breakfast. So let's say my breakfast this morning, I wanted something else and I ate something else. Okay, so what I wanted was my ideal. I didn't want to wake up in the morning, want to have a kind of breakfast, and it wasn't what I had. For goodness sake. Okay, I don't want that to happen again and again. Remember, if I don't revise it, it is going to repeat itself again and again and again. So what do? I simply assume that I ate the kind of breakfast that I wanted to eat. That is, take note, first assume it. That is, hold an inner conversation in myself that goes, oh, it's so wonderful to have this breakfast that I wanted, exactly as I wanted it, and when I wanted it, or whatever other detail I want to put in. Then, having assumed that, I imagine myself back into the seat where I had the breakfast. Okay, back into the dining room, the seat where I had breakfast, if I had it in bed, then back on that bed, and then put the breakfast on my hands exactly as I did it, as I ate it, and then remember myself eating my ideal breakfast, and not the one that I got. Okay, not the one that was dumped on my laps, but the one that I wanted to eat. Okay, that is revision for myself. So if let's use another instance here. So if I applied for a role, okay, and then I wanted to be appointed, that's why I applied for it. And then an email came in my mail, and it was rejection. And they said, no, we don't have any opening for you right now. No worries, no stress with that. I will just assume myself to have been employed, to be on that role. And then having assumed that I'm on that role, I would put myself back on the seat, or maybe if I use my phone, I'll put myself back holding my phone in my imagination, scrolling through my mails, and then opening that particular mail. Well, I would really not scroll, I'll just open that mail, and see your appointment letter, or something that would imply that I am now on the appointment, that I got the appointment that I wanted. And that is all. So I do that, knowing fully well that as I do that and I keep that memory. Now, take notes, keep that memory in my mind. It is going to come back again. It is going to happen maybe in a day, maybe in a week, maybe in a month, but it is going to happen certainly. Okay, so that is it. Now let's talk about revising for my experience through my friends. So my friend called me and said, hey Adelere, how are you doing today? And I said, I'm good. And he said, but Adelere, I would like this kind of breakfast, but I got that kind of breakfast instead, and I'm not so happy about it. Okay, I dropped the call. Then I put myself back on the phone with my friend, and hear my friend saying, hey Adelere, how are you? And I said, I'm doing great. And he says, oh yeah, Adelere, I wanted this breakfast, and oh my god, it was so amazing. I enjoyed it. It was all yummy. And that's it. I've revised it. So it's going to happen in its own appointed hour. It may happen just the day after. It may happen just a week later. It may happen a month later. Even if it takes a year. Right. It doesn't matter the time that it would happen. The important thing is that keeping that memory of the revised ideal in my mind, in my consciousness, and holding it steadfast there, that particular event would happen exactly as I imagined it, and it will break the chain of repetition, the cycle of repetition, and from that point on, it is my ideal that I'm bound to experience. That is a lot of good news for me. So much good news. Okay, so that said, now we understand how to revise. That is to pick the same experience that happened that you reacted negatively to, and then you change it, you switch it into what you wish had happened, and then you enjoy the new experience by feeling the satisfaction or the relief or the joy. So now that we understand that, let's look at 3 things you can revise for. So you can revise your day-to-day experiences. Okay, you can revise the things that actually happen to you on a daily basis, starting from the time that you woke up from bed. If you woke up 5:30 and you wanted to wake up 4:30 instead in the morning, then revise that you woke up 4:30 instead of beat yourself up. If you woke up let's say 8 o'clock when you wanted to wake up 10 o'clock, yeah, because maybe you like to lie in and then you woke up 8 o'clock instead. Come on, just revise that you woke up 10 o'clock instead of beating yourself up and going, oh my god, I don't get sleeps these days. No, don't. Just revise it. Okay, Neville says in the Pernicious Revision chapter, the Awakened Imagination book, it says that the first act of correction or cure is to revise. That's all. You don't have to do any other thing but that. Okay, so that is the way you start your day, and then going from there, you check your wallet. You'd like it to be full of money, and then it was just maybe 1 or 2 banknotes that's there, and then you revise it. It's full of money, and then you go from there. Did you get to the bus station and then the bus is gone? It's left. Then you revise that you got there and you got there on time. And by the way, you revising your day-to-day experiences does not mean you're just changing the things that happened from negative things to positive things. It's about changing things from what they were to your ideals. Okay, the point is to your ideals. So it doesn't have to be something negative. For instance, you could actually you checked your wallet to find you found some notes there and you're happy. Oh, let's use this. So you got your bank statement for the month, okay, and then you found out that your total business activity for the month amounted to say $10,000, and you'd like it to be $50,000. Then revise that. You got $50,000 that month. So you go to the day after, and then you mentally bring yourself back to this time as if you're remembering it, and then you remember it as if you saw $50,000 there, and you let it go there. Okay, so that is revising your day-to-day experiences. But then you also have experiences you have through friends, okay, and then you see them call you, they tell you this is going on in their life, that is going on in their life, or they want this, they want that. Okay, they don't have to be in a negative situation also. It's just about if they want something. Would you want that thing for them? Then you revise it. So if someone calls me on the phone and says, I want this, then I go from there, immediately I drop the call. Do I want it for myself? Is that something I would want for my friend? Then I simply assume they have it, and then that they called me to say, I got this thing. And that's all. Okay, so you revise for your friends as well. So if your friend called you and said they fell ill, they didn't have good health, and then they worried about how to take care of themselves or something, okay, whether you want to sympathize with them or anything, although I don't think you need sympathy, okay, because it doesn't change anything. But if you would like to, say some sorry to them and all of that, fine. But ensure whatever you do, you actually revise. And I tell you this, actually, you don't need the sympathy to them if you're bold and courageous about the power of imagination to fix the situation, or to rather, to change the situation. That's a better word. Okay? I think maybe when we do something on states again, we'll talk about not fixing states, okay? Just changing. So, to change the situation, you have the power in your imagination. You don't feel sorry to tell them, okay, it's done, you're healthy. And then you let it go at that. And then knowing fully well that in a day after, maybe even an hour later, a day after, a month, or sometime in the future, they're bound to tell you that they feel very healthy. Okay? So that is revising for others. Now we've talked about two that way. We've talked about revising your own day-to-day experiences. We've talked about revising for others. And then the third is that you can revise your past. Now, I think this is one of the important things to do, actually, to revise your past. It's one of the most important things to do in your life. It's one of the best gifts that you can give to yourself on a daily basis. You go back into some time in the past, whether it is from your childhood, and there's hardly anyone who doesn't have something that traumatized them as a child, okay? Hardly anyone who doesn't have. So what were the things that traumatized you as a child? You do away with the trauma, but not by pretending it wasn't there. No, It's not by denying it. It's not by ignoring it. It's by revising it. So you put in a new memory of the fresh thing that you wish you had experienced, the kind of ideal that you would be pleased with all your life, and then you put that there. Okay? Then you carry it on from there. You bring yourself back into this moment, feeling that that was what happened. That was what actually happened. And I promise you, if that thing could repeat itself, it would repeat itself. If that thing has consequences that continue to repeat themselves, the consequences will be discontinued for the revised event's consequences to happen. So in other words, you bring yourself to a wonderful, beautiful ideal. So a simple word on reversing your whole past is this. As a matter of fact, if you were honest with yourself enough and then you just revised all of your past, you would achieve more than 90% of your goals, of the current desires and goals that you have right now. And you would eliminate almost all of the personal worries that you have. And this is the reason why most of our goals and ideals now that we fail at, okay, that we're trying to manifest so hard and we fail at, we didn't just fail at them today. We failed at them 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years back. Yeah, that way. So we're simply repeating. Our whole life is a grand deja vu that we're not aware of until we wake up and we start to use our process of revision. Okay, so now let's take it from there to the last thing that I have for us today, and that would just be it. And it is your life purpose. Okay, so you are imagination. Now I would like to repeat that again, that you are all imagination. I don't know what your name is, because, well, this is a live video, right? So I don't know who amongst us looking at this, but I think I could see some friends here. I could see Anita, Fazila, and I could see Shani, I could see Leonie, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I see some of us here. Now, whatever your name might be, that name is synonymous to God. Okay, so if you're going on the road and someone says, "Oh my God, they actually called you," okay, and those two are synonymous to the imagination. All right, so now you, if you're awakened, if you truly awakened, or if you're an awakened imagination, your life purpose is revision. So let's get a little bit into that. Just maybe 2 minutes. I like to use an analogy, and it is this. You see, no matter what happens to your phone, if your phone, if something's stopped functioning on your phone, but it is not a phone call functionality, you wouldn't stop using it per se. You would find a way to repair it. If you can't repair it, you'll find alternatives to do those things. Like if you were not able to say access your email with your phone, you just use a laptop. If your what else? If your video player stops functioning, you just use your laptop or your television set. But if your phone calls functionality stopped functioning, you would replace the phone. Why? Because that is the purpose of the phone. Now, a lesson for us there is this. The phone call functionality is not an objective the phone is trying to achieve. Your phone, you probably update the video player app, you update the Gmail app, you update the WhatsApp functionality, you update all these apps. You never updated your phone call app, by the way. Okay, just the same way. It is just the thing that the phone is doing, that the phone has to be doing every time. It has to be there. If it's not there, it's broken. You replace it. So the same thing is your imagination. Okay, many times we go with life purpose thinking. Life purpose is like something we have to achieve in the future, like some goal or objective to serve humanity. I want to serve 1,000 people or 1 million people, and that's my life purpose. No, it's not. It's an objective. It's a goal, and then you just simply assume you have it. And if you told a friend I want this, then you revise that you told a friend that you got it, and that's simple. But revision itself is your daily life purpose. So you go back to that lecture that was recommended to us, and then Neville said this in it. It said that you have a mission, you have a purpose, and it is not to amass a fortune. You can have it if you want. It's not to be famous. It's not to be wealthy, to be happily married, to any of those objectives you want to achieve. Your life purpose is simply to revise, to prune the garden that is yours. In other words, this is very intimate, by the way. Your life purpose is to change your body of beliefs. Your body of beliefs is your true body. It's your true divine body. It is the body of your imagination. That's what you wear all over you. Okay? And it's for you to beautify it, to adore it, to actually prune it on a daily basis, making it the loveliest that you can have. Okay, so that would be it on revision. I think we can take some questions here. So you can put your questions in the comment section, and I think I see one here right now from Leah. The question is, are we revising as we go or after each day that passes? Well, the simple answer is you can revise as you go, and then if you've trained yourself, that's what you'll be doing on a daily basis. You revise as you go. Okay, in fact, like I talked about life purpose just now, a time is coming, if you've been doing this on a daily basis, that you revise on the spot, even almost unconsciously, as if you only hear the positive thing, you only hear the wish fulfilled. So someone tells you I want this, but you don't react to it because what you heard is I have this, and then they come back to tell you I have it, and you go, yeah, of course you've got to have it because you told me. Okay, but for a starting point, you can follow the exercise that I gave to you for the 7 days, which is to set a deliberate time at the end of your day especially, and then you do it then. Now, this is something Neville said it's an exercise that is worthy for the imagination to do every time. And the simple reason is because although we can revise on the spot, because we've not developed that as a constant ongoing practice, we usually default at it. So if you set it every time, it's easier to discipline yourself to do that. And then of course, the basic thing is to assume that you're a master of revision, that you do it every time. Okay? So you can do it on the spot, you can do it right before you go to sleep in the night, and the most important thing is to ensure that you do it. No matter what the time is, you do it. Ensure you do it. Okay, then another question here is, oh, thank you, Maria, for that excellent answer. So then another question here is, revise, then repeat it over and over. Yes, revise, and then you repeat the memory of that revised version over and over. So there's this beautiful story from Neville. Okay, but I think I'll just like to use my own example. So there was this time a friend called me sometime last year, the last day of the year. He called me. He said he didn't know what to do. He's just been relieved of his job, and then he had nowhere to stay also because it was his job that was accommodating him. And I said, all right, so what kind of job would you like? And then he told me. And I said, okay, what kind of apartment would you like? And he told me. I said, okay, so now what would it feel like if you have those two? And then of course he told me. And I asked him to go back in the feeling, have that feeling and continue in it. Then after that, I went back, and as I was going back, as I entered the cab, again, this is an answer on the spot thing. I revised it right there on the spot, okay? Just as I entered the cab, I revised it. I put myself back in the place where we were, and I heard him saying to me, that, oh, you wouldn't believe it, I got the most fantastic job, exactly the kind of quality that I have, gives me quality time, it's my passion, and I enjoy it, and it pays me well, okay? So that was it. And then a week later, he called me again, and then when he called me, he said, well, he's trying to look for this and that, and then I should be mindful of him. I said, okay, I'm mindful of you, and then you just do the feeling that I've asked you to do because you have got the job already. Then immediately after the call, I revised it again. Now I put myself back at where he told me the first time he told me. That my revised version. I put myself back there, and imagine he told me the same thing that I imagined then. And then a few days later, I was mindful of him. Of course, he's my friend, so I'll think of him. And then remembering him, I did the same revision. I put the same scene, put myself in the same scene, saw the whole thing over again, heard him tell me that he's got a job. You know, sometime in March, he just called me and he said he's turning down job offers. And I said, what do you mean you're turning down job offers? He said, well, because something happened and one thing led to another, and then there's something he has been doing. He did it for free. He's just done it with his colleagues, and someone decided to start rewarding him for it. And it was his passion. It gave him much time to do everything he wanted to do. The money was good for him. So that was it. Okay, so I repeated the same scene again and again, and then it externalized itself in its own time. Okay, so yes, revise and then repeat it over and over. So have you ever experienced other people forgetting the real past after you've done revision? Yes, I have actually. On many occasions I've forgotten the real past after I've revised. Okay, and then people also can. Yeah, I've not been in a situation where someone has, I've actually listened to someone and they don't remember the real past. Okay, but I don't think anyone has ever brought up a past that I've revised to me and then challenged me with it too. No. Okay, if I've revised a particular thing, I've not seen anyone who has brought it up and said that this was the past that they didn't have. Okay, but not all revision has to do that. There are some revisions you don't eradicate the past. Okay, it's the type you're describing is the one where you eradicate the past. I never mentioned that you can do those kind of two revisions. You can do just change it, or you can eradicate it. A whole past, it's removed, deleted out of the memory of the consciousness of people who were aware of that thing happening. Okay, so yeah, you can do that if you want to. You've got to simply have a view that that thing didn't happen, and that something that happened, that field in that time was perfectly was altogether different. In fact, you can delete a whole section of time. Yeah, I think some of us that have been doing our inner conversations would know this very, very intimately, that time is totally flexible and adjustable by your imagination. Okay, so you can delete a whole section of time and simply remember that you went from A to D instead of A, B, C, and D. That you went from A to D, and that you just, it's like a simple jump, boom, and then there's no B and C again. And that is eradicating it. Okay, so you mean repeating it the same day, the same time. Sorry, you mean repeat it the same day again and again, or until it come real. Oh, repeat it until you believe that it is done. That is the important thing. You have to repeat it until you believe that it is done. Okay, another story, the one I wanted to share from Neville, was this. A friend of Neville wrote to him saying that there was one of assistants, a secretary for him, that okay, there was a secretary for him that oh, okay. So a secretary of him that came to the office and began to complain about how men has come, and then there's no man that's fit for marriage and all of that, and then no one of them is really responsible. And then he revised it that moment. He revised it when he was driving home in his car. He revised it the following morning, of course, remembering the things that happened the day before in the office. He revised it when he was shaving in the morning, and then that was it. And then 10 days later, the lady came, and then she came up with all those stories again, and he revised it. Then after that, it happened. 10 days later, it happened. So he did the revision 4 times, but he wasn't doing it every time as if he had to do it until it happened. He had to do it only until he believed it, to the point that anyone's interaction about it couldn't shift his belief that it has happened. Okay, I think that would be, let me see if there's any other question, then that would be it. But if there isn't, okay, yeah, so that is it. Thank you very much once again. Well, we'll be meeting again in our next coaching clinic. Again, that will be in September. Yeah, that will be in September, the first Tuesday of September. Until then, okay, I think I have one more question here. So if you want to eradicate the past, just have to assume that your new past is true. Oh, eradicating the past is different from changing the past. Okay, you can change it. That's what you've asked here. You assume your new past is true. If you want to eradicate it, you assume that a section of time didn't happen, that the sequence of events that occurred was from A, then D. D followed it sequentially instead of A, B, C, and D. Okay, I did that once, then I just went from A to D. And the BC that happened that didn't match my ideal, I deleted it. I put it out, and that was just from A to D. Okay, so that is how to eradicate the past. Alright, thank you very much, and then do enjoy yourselves. I believe you got valuable lessons and practical insights to shift your life and transform your experiences for supreme results in this video. To have more videos and contents like this, click like, click subscribe of course, and turn on the notification bells so that I can have more content from my table. All greetings.